All right, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another broadcast of the American Reaching Mahjong League. Nathaniel here to catch some Sunday night Mahjong. It's going to be B1 matchup followed by C1 later on, and this first table is going to be quite interesting to follow. I believe we actually caught the first two games of this series a little bit earlier in the week, and they're here to finish off the final two of Session 5. It's Brian Viet up in third and fourth place in the B1 division, looking good to secure a promotion slot for the time being. Of course, Brian with 0 fourth places this season, quite strong, and Viet doing quite well himself at plus 80 overall. This one in the negatives, trying to avoid the demotion zone, and Patrick just barely in the demotion zone, hoping to escape in these final two games. We'll be off with Sichuan as our first dealer, Viet on the right, Brian across the table, and Patrick to the left. Very curious to see a shot call earlier from Viet. We can't see the hands, so let's open them up and see what's going on there. It looks like it's actually kind of curious call because the north is a non-yako high as well. So there's a chance that this could be Honitsu, could be Toi Toi. Well, the door discard definitely indicates that it's plotting to be Honitsu, but still holding on to the 8, so pair just in case this does end up becoming a Toi Toi in the future. Let's see, for our dealer, one door in hand, reasonable shapes. Ishan 10 actually could have been could find a 1 so 3 Bon Shabo if the 6 Mon gets drawn. Moving across the table to Brian's hand, we've got less strong shapes, but there's a door in hand. Richie with the door is always super for value. You can always sumo find an Una and make a Bongon out of that. Patrick on the left opens up with the 6 so Puln, hoping perhaps for a Tanya on that 4 pin is exactly what he needs. Is Tempai now for the 4-7 pin. But that draws the 6 Mon into Sichuan's hand, who ends up dealing it on that 4 pin for Tanya only. Started off Patrick, an early lead. It will be the dealer in East 2. East Wind is the Dora. Only one in hand. We see that on the left for Sichuan. Our dealer, though, has an average starting hand with only one diamond shape, a couple of Penchant and Conchants to fill. The floaters aren't so bad, though, so we'll just wait and see how these early draws affect the shapes in the hand. On the right, Brian's got almost completed Ipeko, just needs a 7 pin. Fortunately, one of those has been cut already, but with 4 pairs, could consider shifting to Chitoi in the future. Across the way, that hand also, just like dealers, kind of average. One completed shape and a couple penchants. That'll be a little tricky to fill. On the left, there's a lot of Sozu there, but not a hand that you necessarily are going to force into Honitsu, especially with the chance that Ipeko in the lower Sozu. So this is going to be a hand for slow building. Yet it's drawing okay as dealer. Has filled the penchant in the lower Sozu. And now even Ipeko chance in the Monzu, although probably trying to aim for 5, 6, 7 Sajiko more than anything else. Having the pairs 5 Mon, 7 Mon is a little bit awkward. You need 2 6 Mon in order to complete 2 sequences. A lot of times you end up just trimming away from that shape. And in fact, with the 1 Mon cut, could even have considered the 5, but still hedging for that Ipeko possibility. Oh, now more pairs for dealer. This is so awkward to handle. Yeah, I like the 5 Mon cut. The 3 3 5 7 7 shape is fairly strong because it accepts the 3 Mon, 4 Mon, 6 Mon, and 7 Mon to have a pair and a completed shape. And now it's a really nice Ishanten with chance at Sanchoku still. However, Brian on the right has been able to open for the Tanyao, and it will be a 4-7 pin wait. Unfortunately for Brian, this one has been rapidly discarding all those 7 pins, so only the 4 pin left as a winning tile here. However, Sichuan might need to drop that 4 pin depending on how a pair forms in the hand. If he draws the 3 so, then might be forced to use the 3-pin as the pair and discard the 4 into
Eat.
dealing. But it will find Tempai with that great Ishanten shape and takes Richi Nomi, waiting for 7-pin as dealer. From his perspective, he thinks they're perhaps at 5 unseen, so maybe 1 or 2 in the wall. In this case, there are 3 of the 4 pins in the wall, so quite decent, given that half of your weight is discarded or being held by Brian. Of course, as a dealer, making a Richi here puts a lot of pressure on the open hand. We'll see how Brian handles this. Still maintaining the Tempai for the time being, discarding Genbutsu tiles. And actually draws one of the 4 pins. They were on the same weight, and Brian will take the Tanyao Tsumo. And another lead change, this time going to Brian, but it's only been small hands so far. Now, as the dealer, Dora in hand, 1 diamond shape and a pair, 2 diamond shapes, I should say. Not too bad here. Really like the 5, so to be able to use this door a little more easily. There is a world with that 8-mon pair up that you could shift this into a Tanya if you feel like you need to open to speed up the hand. On the right, though, maybe a reason that Brian will need to open, because that is already Ishanten for Richi Pinfu. And Diamond, Ishanten there. Across the way, those shapes look pretty good as well. 5-so draw is really nice. You can accept a Dora in the future. Shift upwards if you do end up drawing that way. Breaks away from the Sanmenchan here. And probably will try to shift this into Tanyao, drawing around the 5-pin and cutting the 9-mon pair in the future. On the left, we have Viet with Adora accepting 7-so, and that's the only real hope for value in this hand, because unless you can shift this into Horitsu somehow, pairing up Yakuhai like the East or the North of the Hatsu. Unfortunately, dropped the Haku and got backfired, but it was already twice cut at that point, so you're hoping to pair one of the more useful ones. In the meantime, Ishanten for Sichuan actually has the Pinfu now. Of course, if he does manage to draw something like the 5-mon, could easily discard 9-mon, not 9-mon, actually get Pinfu Tempai. Right now, the Ishanten is likely going to end up on the 2-pin 9-mon Shabo, but after drawing the 4-mon, actually decides that the shift to Tanyao is fairly easy, and there's still a 4, 5, 6 Sanchoku chance. So we'll take this route instead. Slightly wider Ishanten now, so we can pull an Anko of the 2-pin or the 4-mon and take a Richi that way as well. We don't just need the 5-mon or the 3, 6-pin anymore. Our dealer has managed to turn this into a Tanyao hand as expected, and is opening up, try to end this with 2 Dora now. Nice pair up there. Be 5,800 if Brian can find the win, and amazingly, Patrick has not been able to find Tempai despite being Ishanten for so long. It's only improved to perfect Ishanten now, but we'll see the open up across the way on that 5-mon. Ooh, tough choice here. Which diamond do you cut? Goes with the 4-pin, 5-pin. Perhaps that's just on the basis of one of the 6 pins already being cheated. And we will see the Richi, the perfect Ishanten, paying off for Patrick, as he fills the Anko of the 7-so. Now takes a Richi Nomi, waiting 4-mon, 7-mon. And that pushes Sichuan off of Tempai. Brian has a hand worth fighting for, and will just shove the 5-pin into this. A little worried about these Sotaos being close to Dora, but pushes the 8-so anyway. Brian says, I don't care about this Richi. My hand is worth it. I have 2 Dora. In Akanashi, where there's no red 5s, it's definitely easier to make this play. Sumo. But just as Brian gets Tempai, Patrick will find that Sumo reached Sumo and no Ura. Means that Patrick will now take the lead. It just keeps shifting to the right. But no one taking a huge lead. No big hands just yet. Nothing over 2 Han. Patrick, 32-7. Reasonably strong Hypai here. 1 completed shape, a couple pair chances, 2 completed shapes now. Already Dian Shanten and a Dora. Quite good. Sichuan on the right. 1, 2, 3 pairs, but good diamond shapes and one completed. So we might see the west-west cut in the near future, maybe shift to potential Tanya, or if Sichuan wants to have a nice Shaba weight, could end up waiting on the west if it chooses to drop something else. Across the way, yet good high pie for Tanya Pingshu. Maybe there's a 5, 6, 7 Saochuku here. Could even work out 4, 5, 6 in that hand. And of course, the 4 so being Dora is really important that Viet is able to use this with the 5 so. Question as to what will end up being the final pair in the hand. Probably not in the Manzu. But with that 4-pin draw, it might not be in the Pinzu either. So still undetermined at this point. On the left, Brian does have the pair of East, can open up this hand. It might end up being a Chanta, actually, although the 1-pin pair is a little unfortunate. Brian definitely thinking about the Itsu possibility in the Manzu, but got a little bit of a backfire there. And now the 2 Mons are starting to come out. This 1-1-3 shape looking a little bit worse, but the 3 still connects to the 5, and you can hope to draw a 4 Mon, which actually Patrick draws, and you can use that. We'll end up cutting the 1 so right back. And this is technically Ishanten, where a 7-pin, 2-pin, 9-pin will all give Tempai, as well as the 5 Mon. But Patrick might be... Oh, and there's the Dora, so... That's part of the reason why the 1 so was being kept around for a little bit. Can still try to make use of this, though. And 2-pin cut is kind of interesting. I think hoping to extend one of these shapes, but now there's a Ricci, and wow, that's a super wide Tempai. 2-5-8 pin. Ricci Tanyao. The 7 Mon did end up being the pair after all. And Patrick tries to open up for Tanyao, but will almost certainly be dealing in as he attempts to push Tanyao Dora 2. Patrick, though, a fairly defensive player, has managed to only play Genbutsu and might not push this hand too much if and none of these pin tiles become clear, and we know they won't become clear because it'll be a win no matter if the 2, the 5, or the 8 comes out. And there's the 8. Not really anything else safe except for maybe Suji 3 Mon, but that was the Ricci tile, so not completely clear there. And that will even up the scoreline heading into South 4. It is going to be Sichuan's dealer again. Dealership in South 1, rather. And the scoreline has Sichuan as the only player below 30,000, but not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. Looks like a chance at 6, 7, 8 Sanchoku Pingshu Dora 1 here. There is a call of the West Crossway for Brian, who has another Yakuhai pair of the Green Dragon in hand. Might even be able to force a Honitsu out of that in the Dora suit. Double Yakuhai Honitsu. If you get 2 Dora, that would even be a Hanemon. However, we see the Dora pairs actually in the hand to the right. Yet, with Tanyao chances, oh, this could be another monster. Especially if you can draw into Ipeko in the Sozu. Ricci, Pinfu, Tanyao, Ipeko, Dora 2. In fact, you might even dominate that depending on how big of a lead Viet thinks is going to be enough for this game. And of course, the one hand we haven't looked at yet on the left, Patrick, is still a work in progress. Love to draw 6-pin. 5-pin's not terrible, though. Too many pairs in the hand right now. We'll cut away from the 5 Mon. 5 so, I should say. Very likely the 9 so will follow in the near future. Nope, that is a helpful draw. So Ishanten for Patrick now, cutting away the 9 so. And Sichuan opening up for the Tanyao play. There is 1 Dora left in the wall. Very curious to see who will get it. Brian holding this west, perhaps thinking about conning in the future, but most likely going to use that as a safe tile. And here we go. Chi into Tempai. We'll drop the west for Sha Hatsudora 1.
Chi.
Sichuan Chi's into Ishanten. In desperate need of that 6-pin, though. And Viet actually opens up to Tenpai Tanyao Door 2 for 3,900, waiting 360. Currently, the 360 has 3 left in the wall, versus the 7 pin across the way, which has also 3 in the wall. 3 versus 3. Of course, the Sozu weight has 2 different types of tiles that could come out. Oh no, that's Tenpai. That's not the Tenpai that Sichuan wanted, especially because the 6 so will actually deal in here.
Wrong.
And that will be the new largest hand of the game, a 3 Han Tanyao Door 2 for 3,900. Viet will take first place into South 2. East pair as dealer, strong start. Can open the hand for probably just 1,500, as it looks like the other shapes are moving more in the direction of a Pinfu type hand, although there is a small chance at Honitsu here. That's why we're holding the Chun over the 9 so. You could even perhaps make Itsu out of this if you end up not getting the East pair. And hello, 8 pin. Well, Honitsu might be realistic here. On the right, there's the ability to open up on the Hatsu, and Sozu is the door suit, so if Brian wanted to try for Honitsu in the door suit, that is definitely an option. Especially when you see Viet opening on this 1, 2, 3, you might start to suspect that pin Honitsu is happening, and you'll be able to call the Sozu that come out from that hand. Especially now that a 4, 5, and now a 3 mon are going to come out, it seems more likely that Honitsu is the play here. However, Sichuan, after opening up on the 4 mon on the left, pairs up the Hatsu in addition to the Haku pair that's already in hand, so definitely no longer Atosuke. Really looking for the 6 door to increase the value of this hand, though. The last hand across the way has Itsu chance, and the Haku kind of just floating around in Patrick's hand. Probably discarded pretty soon, as that hand is making decent progress towards Tenpai. 8 pin is consideration as a hold for Sanchoku, but the 9 pin was already cut, so due to Huriten risk, Patrick just throws the 8 pin right back. Oh, 2 pin is kind of helpful. There goes the Haku. Very important that Sichuan also paired up the Haku there, because the Hatsu is Mochi Mochi with Brian. Brian now Ishanten. Probably going to use the Hatsu as the pair, which it must be at this point. Just looking for the right Mon tile, and that's it. Ricci. Waiting on 2 so, 5 so, where 5 so gives you Peiko. Ricci Nomi currently. 5 so are actually all in hand. So currently only the 4 2 so in the wall. If you had holds this 5 mon temporarily. If an 8 mon comes out, I think he'll be pretty comfortable pushing it. But for the time being, we'll just hold the Shanten for a potential Honitsu Itsu. Sha Shompai. Is the 5 mon actually safer, given the fact that all the 4 have come out? Viet says, actually, I don't want to fight a Ricci. I can't see any of the Dora. I'm not going for something in the Dora suit. And right on cue, draws a deal-in tile, so good bail from Viet here. Patrick also seems to want to stay away from this, but isn't completely out of things here. So this one might not have much choice but to fight, given the state of his hand. Can use 2 of the Dora, which, amazingly, there are 3 of in the wall. Viet has a direct path out. Can consider calling here, but yeah, just gives it up. Has 2 extra save tiles now. With the Chuso pairing up, there is a slim chance that Viet can get back into Tenpai. Again, the East is offered. The 2 pin is safe. The 4 or 5 is safe. You have enough tiles that I think you can actually call this. And if you don't, find your way to Tenpai, that's okay. Patrick is considering opening on this as well, trying to find K10 here. It's not clear if that actually helps the hand because you're lacking a pair. I think I would pass. But we do see the call. That moves the Haite to Viet, who Draws a 6 pin. 5, 5, 5, 5. All the 5s are visible. So 6 is actually reasonably safe here, but chooses against discarding it. It could deal into Shabo or Tonki. There's the West. Does not matter in the end. Brian finds the last tile on the wall. Reached Sumo. No Uda. We haven't seen any Uda today. And it's going to be really tight moving into South 3. We're still waiting for that breakout hand. Haven't seen any Mongon yet in this game. Only one 3-Han hand even. Brian as dealer, hoping to draw 4 pins so that he can use the Dora. Outside of that, pretty average hand. Looking at Ricci Pinfu at best. Oh, that's a great fill. Pinfu looking stronger. On the right, there's the Dora. Patrick with 4 pairs. I'm sure he's already thinking about the G-Toy possibility. Not that he's trying to force it, but it's definitely in the back of his head. And of course, tie now is definitely an option here. Toy is a little tricky with these being mostly central tiles. Usually don't expect to be able to call for those hands. Across the way, that is a Dora, probably Ricci Dora 1 here. Might have a very tricky 9-mon east weight end weight on the left. That hand was already good, and if it had an overabundance of diamond shapes from which to choose, decided to get rid of the Manzu shape, the 5-6, probably because it's more central. And even here, there's a chance at winning 2 again. Well, the 9 pin has already been discarded. Not necessarily the end of the world, though, because you can use a 1 pin and call the West in your Tempai with a 3-sided weight. Ooh, 9-mon draws great. Sichuan actually choosing to discard the East, as it's been once cut already, favoring the 2 Kanchan shapes, the 6-8 Mon and the 6-8 So. Well, now an extension in the Pinzu allows you to pair up either the 6-8 Mon or the 6-8 So, and then treat that pin shape as a Sanmenchan, looking for a 2-5 or 8. It's a really flexible little shift there. Brian, our dealer, still Ishanten right now for Ricci Pinfu. And Patrick finally able to open up on the 5 So. I imagine 2 pin. Oh, goes with the 2-3 shape. Trying to avoid the 50-10 here. Here's the West. Brian holds on to it for the time being, but we'll see once it gets dropped if it chooses to open here, or if it's just too late in the hand to try to force Honitsu. Sichuan actually did end up drawing the 8 pin and was able to discard the 9-mon as a result.
Boom.
We've seen exchange of calls. The West was taken. 1 pin drawn. Here we go. We've got that 3 pin, 5 pin, 6 pin weight. Patrick, though, calls as well and can afford to get rid of the 2 pin. One of the few pin tiles in that area that will actually pass safely. Sichuan opens up here with 6-7-8 Sanchoku Tempai. Sanchoku Dora 1. Looking for a 7-mon, but those are being held. Only one left in the wall. Brian has to think carefully about this 1 pin. That is the Dora suit that we're talking about. We have Tempai. I doubt Patrick will drop the Dora. So out goes the 2 pin. Another player waiting on the 7 pin now. 3 pin would deal a double run at this point, but no one is going to drop it. And we're going to see the Ricci from Brian. Ricci Pinfu waiting for 7 pin. That's not looking very strong either in the wall. No 7 pins, no 4 pins. That's a dead weight. Of course, Brian can only see one of those tiles, but must understand, of course, that the other players are likely holding it. Actually, Patrick shifts the weight and will end up dealing in to Sanchoku Dora 1. That puts Sichuan right back into the game, or right back into contention for 3rd place, I should say. I was always in the game, never out of it. 800 points away. It's a really tense battle, not only for 3rd and 4th here, and 1st and 2nd, but really everyone has a chance to take 1st at this point in all last. Patrick. This high pie looks super. Already 2 completed shapes in the Manzu. diamond shapes in the other two suits as well. Even this overlapping 1 through 3 4 shape. Might even consider dropping the 1 so first here just to hold the chance of drawing the 7 pin, but Patrick will not be surprised to see the 7 pins being held around the table and values the nice shape that results from drawing the 2 so here rather. That 6 pin is quite helpful. On the right we have double south for Sichuan. That's an excellent plan to open up to at least take third place here. There's no door just yet, so it wouldn't be anything more than 2 Han. But yeah, Sichuan's going to take this opportunity. Says at worst I lose something like 10 points. Not even 10, like 7 points, 7.2. That's nothing compared to the 20 points that you would get for a fourth here. And even that is not bad as a fourth place. So we'll see how the rest of the table responds. Viet will open up. Any win here will guarantee first place. So not even necessarily trying to force this door in. It's just efficient to keep. If it was efficient, he'd almost certainly have no problem just throwing it out there. Now a second call from Sichuan. Puts the table a little on edge. And Brian, a great fill, is able to use the door here. That's actually Tempai. Will take the Ricci. Had the choice between winning on the 6-so and the 4-so. Chooses the 4-so. There are 3 in the wall versus only 2 in the wall for the 6-so. So that is technically the right choice. And now Patrick is in a rough spot because even if he plays perfect defense and avoids dealing in, and Brian sumos, Patrick will be eating the Oyakaburi, which, depending on the value of the hand, might be enough to actually drop him to 4th and no fault of his own. So he actually has some incentive to just fight here. We'll see how he chooses to play this. That's a great pair. 6-so could be safely discarded, and 3-so can follow. So Ishan-ten for Pinfu for Patrick here. Viet dropping the 7-so pair. Ooh, that's not quite what we're looking for, but we can try the 1-so 1-so and shift to a Tanya. Or the Suji 3-so works as well. One chance on the 7, so that was discarded with the Ricci tile, so Patrick will give it a shot. Tried to play his best defense while still fighting for the hand. And there's the Sumo. Brian, Ricci, Sumo, Dora. That will be enough to take first place. Even without the Ura, it will also be enough to drop Patrick from the Oyakaburi. So gave it a fair attempt, and Brian will be taking home the plus 25.1. Viet grabs the positive 6.5. These results are perfectly acceptable for both players. For Sichuan, negative 10.2. Took a little bit more because of the Mongon that was finally hit, the first Mongon of the game. Patrick takes the negative 21.4. Not the worst hit, especially for the 4th place, but Patrick does want to get some positive results here. Unfortunately, there's just nothing he could do at that point in the game. And so we will see the updated standings. Sichuan still hanging out ahead of that demotion zone. Patrick drops down a little bit further, but not out of it by any stretch of the imagination. And they will have one final game in this session to lock in their standings moving into the 6th and final session of the season. Go ahead and take a quick peek at the overall standings as I check to see if they have gone ahead and started that game. It looks like it will be a little bit of a delay before their next one starts. About 3 minutes. So we'll take a quick 3-minute break and come back with the final game from this table. We're back right ahead of the start of the fourth game of this session. In that last one, we saw very quiet action the early start of the game. Players with the open hands were the ones winning, not the Riichi hands. The ones that did win were mostly just Riichi Tsumo. No Ura either. So very tight scoreline all the way throughout until the final hand. Brian winning a big Mangan. Riichi Tsumo, Dora, and an Ura. Finally hitting one. Very comfortably in third place overall, yet not doing so bad either. And in this pivotal game for final placement, Viet will be our dealer. Brian to the right, Sichuan across the table, Patrick on the left. To start us off, Viet with the Haku pair. Great shapes everywhere. Even this 3-pin serves some purpose in the hand, as we see that 4-pin draw into Sanmenchan. Probably will end up cutting away from the Diankan most likely. Could consider cutting Haku Haku for Tanya. Actually does choose the Haku play, hoping to get some more value close perhaps. There's a world where you end up with 4, 5, 6 Sanchoku. You can imagine drawing a 5-so first, and then pairing up either the 3-so or the 3-pin or 7-pin, and have a really nice Jiamen weight for Riichi, Pinfu, Tanyao, Sanchoku, if you get the 6-mon. On the right, we've got Tanyao, most likely. Actually, this is Dianchan Ten. Very speedy, callable hand for Brian. Holding on to this 8-mon just in case we draw a Dora, 7-mon. Same thing for Sichuan across the way. The 6-mon is our Dora acceptance tile. Actually draws into Ipeko in the slows in the lower Sozu. And that means that this is Ishanten. Oh, Ishanten. Now the 9-8 Penchon isn't so hot. So if we draw a 5-mon or 7-mon, we're extremely happy. And extremely happy with the Dora is Patrick on the left, who is now Tempai with Ipeko Dora 2, choosing to Dama this 8-mon because he's not confident the 8-mon's going to come out if Riichi is declared. Brian was in danger of dropping it, but he managed to draw Dora himself, and so now has an even stronger looking hand on the right. We'll see how long Patrick holds up this Dama. I mean, Riichi, it just feels like you're never going to see a Mon tile if you're Riichi, so you're really hoping to Tsumo. And Patrick's probably looking around the table and thinking the Mons will look really expensive. I doubt there are many 8-mon in the wall. There are 2, which is more than you'd expect, to be honest. We'll hold this Dama for 5,200. If he Tsumos, it will be a Mangan. In the meantime, though, everyone's going to continue to build their hands normally. Sichuan across the way table cannot stop drawing these Mon tiles, or these So tiles. Would have had an Onko of the 1-so and 3-so, but committed to the Ipeko shape. Patrick now widens the weight a little bit. Chooses to go for Pinfu. 3-6 Mon is the shape there. And the 6 comes out. This one can't hold this tile any longer. Pinfu Door 2 for 39. Slightly worse value, slightly better weight, I guess. But Patrick will take it home and pull out into the lead here, moving into East 2. Brian's high pie looks pretty strong here. Dianchan Ten does have a door in hand. Would like to fill that 8-mon as we quickly refresh things. But definitely a high pie that, as dealer, you are happy to open up to. With a chance at 789 Sanchoku as well. On the right, Shidomi Sichuan looking for the Dora 4-mon, and that Penchon fill in the upper Pinzu. Could be 4, 5, 6 Sanchoku if you draw that 4-mon, though. That's really where the value is going to be in this hand. Across the way, not good shapes. 8-9 Mon, 8-8-9 So, and all of these dragons will start to cut away some of these edge tiles and hope to draw better. In fact, holding the dragons just in case, you know, a random dice Songen comes your way. Here's the Chun. We'll open up on that. Just hold these shapes, Dian Shantan. Get on the left, also Dian Shantan. Lots of pairs though, but there is a Dora. Patrick could pass this, but a 2-pin and a 5-pin have already come out. So he says, you know what? We're just going to give out this faraway dream of Daisangan, although the Hatsu would have been drawn. I guess it could only be Shulsangan at this point because the Haku did come out of Viet's hand. That also puts Brian on a great drawing line. Ishanten now for Ricci, Pinfu, Doro, potential Sancho as well. Brian could even consider opening up if another 9-pin came out from Viet, but it would only be for 2,900. However, with Patrick being 2 calls into this, you might want to speed up your own hand to make sure you maintain the dealership. Because the 6-9 pin looks kind of okay. Oh, and there's Tenpai. Yep, Brian will just smash the Ricci, Pinfu, Dora with Sanchoku chance, and Sichuan has 2 of the 9 pins. There are Genbutsu tiles, chooses the Suji 8, not willing to just give up this hand yet. It is Ishantem. But there are some worlds where Sichuan might just drop 9-pin, 9-pin as relatively safe tiles. Plenty of other ones to get rid of first, though. Wow, Patrick got Tenpai with the Intotsu 8. Destroying all these 1-so. 1, 4, 8-so is the weight. There is a 1-so in the wall, as well as 2 4-sos. And the other 8-so are being held. Oh, 6-pin, that's no good.
Wrong.
And will come out. Not the expensive end, though. Shipin Budora. No Uda either, means it's only 5,800. I say only, though, but that essentially switches places. Brian now takes the lead. Patrick dips below 30,000. Still early days for both players. Brian trying to extend this lead as much as possible on his dealership. Starts with a north pair, in fact, 3 pairs. No immediate value in sight. Could be Peiko now in the lower Manzu. On the right, Sichuan has the Hatsu pair. Okay shapes. It might be just a call and go hand to try to end the dealership. Across the way, 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, 6 Sancho is possible. There's a door in hand. We'll probably see the 1-so and eventually the 3-so or 6-so being discarded, depending on how the shapes fill out in the Pinzu and the Manzu. On the left, Chin pair. Reasonably callable hand, but the shapes are strong enough that Bit might want to keep it closed. Lots of Diamond or Diamond extended shapes. Actually, dropping all these Pinzu tiles might be thinking about shifting to Honitsu should an Otter Tail get paired up. The Haku's not looking like a good candidate. Not losing so much dropping the 9-pin and the 1-2 penchant, though. Oh, wow. Forget dropping the 1-3. So Patrick fills the 2-so and the 5-so. And so, in fact, we'll just end up dropping away from the door shape after all. With a 4, 5, 6 Sanchoku chance still. Notably dropping from the 8-mon first. Just in case the Dora pairs up. Might... Yeah, out goes the Chun. And yeah, it passes it. You'll see how long Patrick holds this 9-mon. If he draws something that's safe to the entire table, he might just choose to Sakigiri. Just discard it ahead of time before it becomes too dangerous. In fact, right now it's fairly safe, but you won't be able to tell that. 3-so is a big draw for Sichuan, but the hand's just not drawn very well. If you look at that discard pool, 3 Haku, 2 1-mon, almost no central tiles, just this 4-pin and the 8-so, which weren't really doing anything for that hand. Another great draw for Viet here. Has Sanmenchan in the Manzu, but still holding this door just in case that Sanmenchan is filled by an 8-mon. And you can make use of the Dora. Brian, in the meantime, kind of similar to this one, not making progress. And finally, the Hatsu leaves opened up immediately. Ishanten now. I being open, kind of vulnerable here. So this one's probably looking for a safer tile than this 6-mon because the other shapes are pretty well locked. Oh, there's that Dora pair. So Patrick does get the upgrade into Dora 2. Just desperately needs 3-6 mon, 3-6 pin. This is Tenpai for Sichuan. Waiting 5-8 pin, although the 8 pin is completely down. The 5 pin just left as well. Patrick will even open Atosuke. Thinks the pins who look fairly inexpensive here. They are, however. The 6 pins are being held in hand. We do have a Ricci from Viet waiting on Sanmenchan. Ricci Nomi. And Sichuan pushes the 8-mon. Very dangerous to give the door indicator like that, but after the door itself was cut, it's much less dangerous. And the Ricci player had sort of given up on that door shape, dropping the 9-mon earlier. Patrick gives up on his weight after drawing 2-mon. Mons looked so terrible on this board. Trying to find a way back into Tenpai though, calling there. Pushes the 1-so, and now just the 2-so to follow.
Sumo.
Oh, but there's the Sumo. So we'll take it. 1 Han plus the Ricci stick. That means Brian is the only player over 30,000 moving into East 3. One nice little Itsu backbone here. The issue is, of course, you have a Penchan and a Kachan to fill. Actually, when you're going for Itsu, the shapes almost don't even work that way. You just need 3 very specific tiles. But the Monzu block looks good. You might have a chance at some type of Sanchoku in the future. And you have door acceptance as well, so I'm very optimistic for this dealer hand. On the right, that also looks pretty Tanyao-esque for Patrick. Nice little extension there in the Sozu. I treat that as 2 diamond shapes, 2 3-so and a 4 5-so. Across the way, 1 more shape fill for Bit, who might have 5 6 7 Sanchoku here. Also the ability to open up on the Yakuhai Sha, which might be leaving Patrick's hand. Polden. So there's 3 Han available here. 5 6 7 Sanchoku, Dora, and of course the Sha. That was just called. For Bright on the left, could open up on the Pei. 1 has already been discarded. That 8-9 Penchan seeks a Dora to fill the gap. Chuan's Mon shape continues to grow, but that also makes it more difficult for Itsu to be built here. I think we're going to see the 1-2 Penchan get cut. Just hoping for more, for a door acceptance. But with 2 sequences in another suit, you can't also have 3 sequences in the Pinzu. You can only have 4 sets to accompany your pair. Oh, there is the door acceptance. And so this is going to be very interesting. Headless shape right now for dealer. Probably the best draw is the 6-so because you have to discard your door for Tenpai. But I have the feeling that Sichuan will take the Ricci Pinfu as dealer. 3-6 pin is a little awkward, but you can reach on Dora Tonki if you want. Another interesting play, if you were to draw 3-6 pin, is just to cut the end of this Mon shape. Oh, and that drawing the pair immediately might solve that issue. You can just cut Diamond. Oh, chooses to just throw it back. Prefers the Tenpai at all costs. Even if that necessitates dropping a Dora. It's still Ishanten. Patrick Ishanten now. Needs to drop 7-so and either 6 or 8 pin. Seven so Dora is an uncomfortable drop, especially when the player to your right is opened already with the Yakuhai. But it is the most efficient, so Patrick again valuing efficiency over anything else. Which one? Still Ishan 10. This is a couple hands in a row where his discard pawn has just looked tragic. Now this pair might be, you might cut the 8-9 pin, even if you didn't do it before, because this is a timeout shift that does make the hand callable. And callability is important here near the end of the game. Oh, end of the hand, I should say. North Anko drawn, Brian Ishamta now. And just as the 8-9 pair's Penchan sort of shape is cut, leaving the 7 pin as the pair, a head is found in the Zozu. We do have Tempai, but Brian's not dealing in here. Dora pair. All those pin tiles lighting up. And Sichuan will deal into Takame for 3,900. Finally, the Sachiko Dora one coming to play for yet 2 players over 30,000, 2 players below. Moving to dealer's hand. Wow, there's a lot of Sozu tiles, but it's not a Honitsu. This looks like Richi, Pinfu, Dora, Tanya, perhaps. But East Pawn on the left. Now that is a Honitsu. North Uncle is ready. Yeah, still in the East round. So this is Mangan. And second pawn could even be Hanuman with Toy Toy. Right, an Uncle drawn. The Dora is going to be kind of hard to use here. You'd love to pair it up as we are lacking a head in this hand. This one knows the plan. That is Tempai technically on the 7, so for East to North. You've got enough food to bump up the value to 26 or 2,700, but no, going for the full value. Across the way, that also looks very pretty for Brian with potential Pinfui Peiko, Dora 2. Patrick could have considered opening up there for Tempai on the 258.
Each.
I guess that would have just been a 3-6. Yeah, it would have just been the 3-6. Instead chose to stay close and drew the 3-so himself. Takes Tempai, reaching on the 5-8 mon for Richi Pinfu Tanyao. Classic. Sichuan does draw a Dora, will want to make use of this, and his Ishan then 6 pin clears. And actually, all of these pin tiles look relatively safe outside of the Dora itself. Of course, the 4 pin's not that amazing either. But Sichuan has the value worth fighting for even against this dealer Ricci, and will make a play for it. In the meantime, Brian with a very good Ishan 10, even better now. Oh, actually chooses to drop the 5-so out. Maybe considered by the Foodie 10. There it is, Tempai. Not only is it Toy Toy, but it's also Dora 2, so this is Baimon? Yakuhai, Honitsu, Toy Toy, Dora 2 is Baimon Tempai, but the 2 pin is never going to come out. So Sichuan can actually not win this hand unless Viet or Brian make a tragic misclick. In the meantime, dealer's hand still has 4 tiles left in the wall. Not that Brian would discard it, but Sichuan in danger now. Another missed opportunity for Brian. Could have been Tempai. Khan? Die? Surely not. You already have enough value. Yes, Khan! Okay. That only increases the value of Patrick's hand. That's an extra Dora, so this is going to be a Mangan one way or another. Oh, there's that Sumo, reached Sumo, Pifu, Tanya, Dora. 2 indicators. It feels kind of likely, but no, misses. And the Uda was the North. That's very funny for Sichuan. But that's a huge hand for Patrick. 12k jumps him into first place, taking 4,000 from all the other players. Also almost Puts everyone below 30,000. Brian now the only remaining player above, and that's just thanks to the early wins that he had. Patrick, though, remains dealer, hoping to extend as many points as you can take out of this game. High Pie is okay. You've got 3 diamond shapes and a Dora. I wouldn't say even more than okay. Put this in the slightly above average category. On the right, that's already Shanten, so definitely above average. Ooh, too many pairs here. I guess you're just gonna have to drop it out. Yeah, four mod makes a lot of sense. There still is a shift here to 234, Sachiku. And for, let's see, that 7 Sojar really fixes the problem, because now you can lock the 2 mon as your pair, and you just have a really wide Ishanten. For Toyman, it looks like a classic Pifu hand, although the Dora is floating in a kind of awkward way. And on the left, we have a collection of So tiles. Nothing super strong in the other suits, so it looks like this one might just consider shifting all the way to Chinitsu. Oh, but there it is. 4-pin draw. And Viet with a monster Ricci here. Ricci, Pinfu, Dora with 3-sided weight. There are 6 tiles left in the wall. Feels like at any second we'll get the Tsumo. Patrick as dealer. Very sad to see this Ricci because he's got 2 Dora and a pretty strong hand of his own. With the early 5-pin, I wonder if he might try to shove the 2-pin Suji. Actually, these discards from Patrick's position are a little wonky. 5-pin, 9-mon, 4, 4, 6. It feels like Viet must have had a fairly strong hand to start. Maybe even more reason to trust Suji, but there it is. Sumo finally comes in, reaches Sumo, Pintora, no Ura. So just the 5200, but Patrick will eat Oyakaburi. And that means Viet is pretty close to catching up in 2nd place. And in the dealer seat now, South pair, East is Dora. What is drawn? Ooh, this is kind of interesting. We'll just play standard Yakuhai cuts for now. But maybe you trim down the 1-3 So, and if you continue to draw Monzu, you trim down the 6-7 pin, and you could work your way into a valuable Honitsu. On the right, there's also a Dora tile, but those shapes look to be a bit of a mess. Might be one of those hands where you just hold the Dora for forever, or get it out right now. Ooh, another Mon tile drawn, so Viet might try the 1-3 So. No, just plays efficiency. It takes the Ishanten, even if it's not an amazing Ishanten. There still is a chance where you pull in the south, as we are in the south round, and take a plan for Dora Tanki in the future. And now the pair found just goes ahead and discards the east. And across the way, Ishanten with Ricci Tanyao, potential Pinfu. If you can draw the 7-pin specifically. Actually, I wonder about that 4-pin cut. It feels like maybe we want to cut the 8-pin instead. Oh, there's Tenpai. Reaching on the 7-pin would be so tricky here. But I think it's just going to take the Shabo. Yeah. The 8-pin still is... oddly, it doesn't look that bad with the early 9-pin cut. And then a 4-3 diamond. you're expecting the weight to be better than diamond weight, right? You're expecting it better to be better than 2-5 pin. Oh, would have been Ipatsumo. What a shame. We haven't seen Ipats yet tonight. Oh, now getting all the backfires after reaching. Still, the weight is to the wall, both of them being the 8 pins. Oh, hey, I've got backup. How's it going, Korak?
Hello, Nathaniel. I put that message in like 10 minutes ago. Tells you kind of where your mind is.
Yeah, 100% focused on this match, but it's awesome to have some backup here. What have you made of the game so far? Oh, we'll see the 8 mark come out.
Well, I'm on the delay because I can only see the stream.
Great. I will swap perspective and then pull you in.
Well, I see an 8-mon deal in, Riichi Tanya, no Ura, so gets the 2600.
Yeah, Brian now the dealer, slightly below 30K at 29.8. Another game where the scoreline has been very close all throughout. This one featuring some more expensive hands than the first game, but definitely been very tight.
All right, deal has a decent starting hand, not too much value though, but I believe Ryanshan 10, decent ways to upgrade this. I mean, you're fishing for any sort of value, and it's just not there for dealer. This is one of those that's like, what do we brute force Tanya? Do we hedge the Itsu? And speaking of Itsu hedges, we have one on the right. Could just be a regular Pinfu hand, but you have that 1, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9 pin. Looking for something there. Across the way, though, definitely the best hand, Ishan 10. Sanmenchan Ryankan with a Dora in there, potentially Riichi Pinfu Tanyao. Is there a possible Sanshoku in there? Maybe with that later you get a 4, 5, 6, but unlikely. Ooh, cuts the Tuso. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, Patrick's definitely planning on waiting on the 3-6 Nobeton and getting 2 door out of this hand. I think uh, it's not that inefficient. It's kind of gonna be kind of close between the two options, right? Just cutting from the
I
2 or the
think you just
6.
break away from the Ryankan normally
Yeah.
there. This is one where you're definitely trying to keep your acceptance up, but you just lose so much. You lose the 1, the 4, the 7, and you could still already have accepted the 3, 6 if you'd drawn it. Oh, and there's your backfire because
Yeah,
this could be tempai right now.
it feels like Patrick's trying to strongly force the Dora pair chance no matter what. So it gives
No,
slightly
true
better.
devotee to 3 anyway. And we
Exactly.
haven't gotten all the rest of the hands. On the left, also a potential Itsu in pin. Although at that draw, you're dreaming Chinitsu, but it's probably too late for that, and just throws it back.
Well, we might see that
A
shift.
dealer has this loose 3 It says, you know what, get rid of it now. It doesn't do me any good. Probably is going to be a Tanya, though.
Exactly. You alluded to the chance that there might be a shift there, and the 2 pin might be the key factor.
Well, at this point, I'd definitely call this down for just Tanya if possible. It's one of those, it's not a great, another 5 draw across. Uh, but here, if you're dealer, you're just looking to get something. You'd like to get over 30K. Sure, it's only South 2, but it's something to consider on. You're in a very close game. The one that's really back is Sichuan.
And that might be why Zeshwan's forcing some type of serious value here with Honitsu play, but kind of needs to get it Menzen because it's just Bakahon otherwise.
Well, I feel that 2 pin there was actually a bit of a Sekigiri, trying to get rid of a dangerous tile earlier, because normally you just lock the 3-mon cut in, but then keeps the 5, so gonna try and do some shifting. Ooh, that's what you were looking for, though.
Yeah, 5-6-7
Potential Riichi
Sanchoku.
Pinfu Tanya Sanshoku. Yeah, that would be value, but it's third row and you're still Ishan 10.
Well, perfect Isha then if you want it. The Sozu definitely look cheaper
Oh,
than the
6
Pinfu.
so looks. 6 so is Dorasuji. It doesn't look good against anyone. The
Gee.
only redeeming factor is you have seen the 5 pass across the way and you threw the door and it didn't get called.
Yeah,
but
Patrick.
we'll call for Tanya, maybe Sanchoku.
Oh,
Dong.
And yeah, Patrick ultimately punished for getting a little too greedy there.
was really like
It's one of
trying
those
to.
where you see that Ryanka and you're like, I really want to keep it, but at some point you just have to give it up because you're in that situation where you may end up drawing and cutting the entire 246 if you keep drawing in other suits.
Yeah, that's a good point because I'm sure Patrick saw that the Pinzu were looking kind of expensive, and was trying to, and as a result, maximize the number of the acceptance in the Pinzus that no matter what he get there, but ended up, like you said, there's a chance where you just because it's so expensive, you never draw anything, and you draw things in the other suits where you can afford to end up cutting the Pinzu block entirely. It's an interesting way of thinking about it.
Well, deal here with a potential Richi Pinfu. You're dreaming one to face Sanchoku, but may just be a regular Pinfu on the right. Pinfu hand there, nothing fancy. 4-5-6 dream. 6-0 is Dora. Across the way, Hatsu pair. Decent shapes everywhere. Also looking for the 1-2-3 Sanchoku and a floating Dora. Ooh, I mean, you pull that. The question is, how do you play it now? And you have to call this. Doesn't. I don't think I ever pass that. I think I'd normally pawn it and maybe cut 6-pin. Hedge the Sanshoku and the Dorotanki because you're fishing for value. And even if you do end up with just the 1,000 or 2,000, it's not a bad result with where you are. It is going to be hard to finish this. But now Ishan 10 and can call this down. On the left, it's probably going to be Richinomi, and it's hard to get anything from that hand, honestly.
Chinitsu.
It's early enough you can dream, but it's just a dream for
Eh?
now. Okay.
That's a
They
start.
say dreams can come true, but they take a while most of the time. The question is, will you have set amount of time?
Yeah, it's interesting because those Mon shapes are actually all complete. We're really just looking for a pair. But if you do fill some like the 3 so right now, you can just reach you with an insane weight. Is that what 2, 5, 4, 7, something like that?
Yeah, at this point.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Now you can start like legitimately thinking about it. You draw 2 more of those. I got the 4, so I'm just going. I don't really like having that 4 so sitting around in this hand any longer because it is a Dora accepting shape.
mm. And yeah, Patrick's very close to being Tempai on that 4 so. Here's the
And
second
we'll be
Hatsu.
Tempai now on the 4, so you have to call this one.
Yeah.
And now, yeah, you put yourself in that situation. I think Viet may get away from this, though.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't seem to be forcing the Chinitsu. I think we'll still see a reach if the 3 so is drawn. Oh, well, this draw, yeah.
Oh, no, never mind. Deals in. We'll drop to second. Hatsudora 1, as I could put Patrick in first place, but not terrible damage there. Move to South 3. Dealer has actually a decent hand here. You have that ugly 3-5-7-9 mon shape, though. Everything else, though, is workable. As long as it's not great, but it's a workable hand. On the right, Anko of the 6mon can also use 7-8 with a 6-6-6-8 in there. A great 4-5-6 shape. Now you've paired up the east. You have a floating door, which isn't going to do much, but it's probably going to be a Ricci Nomi type hand. Across the way, you have a south. You can call that down. The question is, do you want to? And the answer is, probably if you get it. But now you could even go close. We'll see how this hand develops because it's getting fairly close. And I know there's some cheap toy dreamers out there, but with 4 pairs, it's probably not the route yet. And speaking of Dora, there it goes, and it's pulling on the left, and that's probably going to restrict a lot of these other hands. Actually, a decent shape now, especially if you can chi the 3-6 mon, and all of a sudden that hand on the left is amazing. Oh, well, it could just be Toy Toy Haku Pei Dora
Oh no.
3. How greedy do you want to be? Not very. I actually really like that.
Yeah.
You're in a situation where it doesn't do you a ton of good. You take the widest Ishan 10 and you just work with it. There's no reason to get yourself in trouble. And now you're Tempai waiting on 4-7 for Pei Haku Dora 3. And that puts you in first and all last.
And it doesn't even matter so much that this way is pretty transparent. You still expect to sumo this. There are what, 3 tiles in the wall, 1 7 pin and 2 4 pins. So not as many as you're hoping, but you set yourself
It
up for the
definitely
win.
looks like a pin weight. You also did cut the 4-5 mon, so everyone knows a good weight. I'd actually be a little more suspicious here of a 1-4. That one pin
Come.
was a very aggressive push.
Yeah,
But we may
absolutely.
see a con now. Oh my goodness, we have Baimon showing now. Wait, is that
Oh,
Baimon? Yeah, it is Baimon. So that is Dora 6 showing Baimon
yakuai,
on the
yakuai.
4-7. That's a wake up call. And you're going, oh, please. Fourth is fine. Just don't sumo that. Please.
Yeah, Sichuan, such a rough spot. You haven't really done anything except drop that initial Dora because you're a dealer and you're trying to get out of fourth place. And now you're in danger
Wait.
of getting a massive Oyakaburitsumo.
And if you draw the 4 or the 6, you may just have to slam it and fight to the death here.
Yeah, honestly, I think Sichuan will.
As you're in last, you
There's the
have.
4.
Well, we're about to see.
Do you
This is
dare?
Tempai. You're terrified of it, but I don't see what other choice you really have.
You could go 9 9 and try to make a Tanyao. The Dama.
Damas. I don't like this at all.
Every tile draw is going to be a decision. Like, do I go for it? Do I not?
Probably just waiting for a dangerous pin tile here.
A con
Con?
again? I mean, it's already Baimon. How much
Con
worse
into
could it get?
Ricci?
Okay, not
No fun allowed.
not insane like we all want this one to be. Still, 2 tiles in the
3
wall.
so
1 4
already
1
passed.
7.
6 so safe. You can throw either of those. You don't worry about it. 7 Monsuji, and of course you have the Kabe with those 6 Mon. Not actually a particularly safe tile, but it did come out from Viet, so I guess it's pretty safe.
Oh yeah, Sichuan is
Oh
past that.
no. I mean, you have to give up now. Like, now you're going. The way this is played, you have to go 9 Mon, 9 Mon. Okay, just going to fold out regardless from it. Should definitely be 3 so from Patrick. It's okay. The 6 just came out. That's acceptable as
Yeah,
well.
6. Either one's Genbutsu. Will you call the East if it's pushed?
I would absolutely call the East and cut the 9 because it gets you Tempai.
Oh yeah, we don't have many tiles left. I guess the better question is, will
But
Sichuan
that
ever
East is going
drop
to
the
look
4?
really suspicious. Oh, well, I guess the Ricci would have been a really catastrophic deal in. That's going to be Tempai on the right. You definitely shove the 8 here. Nope.
Wow, everyone dodges.
Wow.
I guarantee you, there's a few sweaty players at the table here. It is such a tense situation when somebody's showing Baimon on the board.
I mean, that con definitely made that head spicy. But the other thing is that Viet's still over 30k now, so Sichuan not in a great position still. But dealer here has 2 Penchon and a completed shape with a Dora. So you get those 3s, the hand will go pretty well. Otherwise, it's a mess. On the right, Pinfu, but that means even worse shapes. It was 6. Okay, that 2 so helps a little bit. Across the way, again, it's a Pinfu, but kind of ugly shapes. And on the left, that's a Pinfu, but actually decent shapes. Possible Ricci, Pinfu, Sanshoku, Dora. With the 3-4-5, you have a 3-4-5 pin, a floating 3 mon, and a 4-5 so, where 5 so is Dora.
Yeah, definitely some expensive hands around the board. Patrick's just going to try to shut that down with Richidora. Oh, these Penchon are so awkward though. Haven't really drawn anything to upgrade away from them. So you might end up just waiting on one of these.
Ooh, that's an interesting. Yeah, I like throwing the 8 back. You're trying to dream. You need value here. At bare minimum, you have to drag Viet under 30k, but you really want to have your win condition here. And if you sumo Hanemon, that would be first place.
Well, kind of Ishan 10 for that Hanemon. right now.
Yeah, no, this is a very
Gee.
nice hand. Also, potential Itsu upgrades to draw 1, 2, 6 pin.
And Patrick decides, after drawing the tune pair, that Ottosuke is actually not so bad here. Ooh, do you switch off
Could
the
even be just
Tenshun?
Tanyao. Yeah, you'd feel much better about this if that would have been a 5 call, because then you have Sanchoku.
Mm-hmm. Backup Yakuha. Backup
Ooh,
Yakuza
throws the
teleport.
4. I don't like that. I think you just throw the East. I like keep the floating 4 as an Ipeco Dora option. I really dislike that 4 cut. Okay, well,
Chance
doesn't matter
3D.
there. Now, throws that as well. If you
Yeah.
draw another door, you're going to be so sad.
Yeah, that's the one draw. I mean, even the 3 so like, okay, well, I got a little bit punished.
Yeah.
But the 5 sword draw would just be tragic.
Absolute disaster. Yeah.
Here's the Chun finally. And out it comes.
Home.
So we'll have Tempai.
That's going to be Tempai every time.
6-pin actually has 3 in the wall. Every player can use a 6-pin. There's the
There's
Tempai.
your Tempai. Gonna smash that one in a second. Richi Sanshoku Dora. It is just Mungon. Would need an Ura and Sumo to take first. And Dealer just folds. Dealer says, I'm out. The problem is, like, what are you doing after the 7 so? I would just jam the 2. You do successfully dodge Ipatsu, but again, what's your
Gee.
plan afterwards?
Well, we're about to find out. It might be something like the 6-0.
6-0 not terrible in this situation.
Oh, just strolls the
just
Dora.
yeets Dora.
Oh my.
Wow.
That was Nakasuji, but that's definitely bold.
Well, now you're Tempai. I mean, I'd rather be Dortonki Tempai, but okay. You have to call this. You
Gee.
have to call this.
It is Furiten.
Furiten on the Tumon. There is one left, and it is in Brian's hand. That's also Furiten and safe.
Yeah, we should see the Tuso come out.
Gee.
Brian Tempai now.
It's Tempai, on the 2-pin. Oh, well, now you have to switch, don't you?
It's almost too good not to, but Patrick says
deathly afraid of the Tumon.
I folded on the
Tumon.
2
is the way.
If I push it now, then I'm admitting I made a mistake. Oh, 2-pin. That's Suji.
This'll deal in. I think he gets pushed.
No, dodges.
No,
wow.
hard folds.
Maybe saw the 3-pin come out from Brian and says, actually, it's still Suji.
Something weird's going on. Well, you'd be right. Something weird is going on. Well, now you can be 3-pin if you want to take it, but I figured this was a fold.
Yeah, Patrick.
Just given that Patrick has played this, that seems normal here. Interestingly, Patrick will have the last draw, but Hatsu's going to give him an out.
Patrick could find Tempai, theoretically. 4 months. Still too walled. And there it is!
Sumo.
There's the Sumo! Needs one aura.
Oh, misses.
Womp, womp.
That still is
no, because if
though.
that Sumo would have been, not only would that have been first, but, oh my goodness. Oh, in the meantime, I think this gets third at least.
I think it does. Yeah.
Yeah, with the unfortunate minus 16.94th, but Patrick does escape there, 17.6. Woods deal on the very end. Brian barely ekes out the positive with a plus 5.7. In third place, Sichuan gets a minus 6.4, misses the Aura, that would have been first place. That would have been a monstrous draw. So that one Aura would have been how much? 4,000. It would have been a 24-point bonus if you would hit Aura.
Wow.
And
that's
then
pretty crazy.
Fiat with a tragic 16.9, a 28 1/4. Those where you go, really?
Yeah, we'll update the standings. We've got Patrick climbing back, 108.8. This one, another small hit, but still in the relatively safe zone for now.
Nah, I wouldn't want to be where either of these people are. Sichuan's right by the cut line. Patrick, of course, needs not just a first, needs a bigger first. and has still 6 games to get something, but at minus 110 roughly, there's a lot of work to be done. On the other hand, Viet has been very fortunate that fourth place in B1 is just there's 72.5, but you see this drop off. The cut line to the guaranteed promotion spot is Stanley, who's done this series at 11.2.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a climb for any of the players outside of the promotion zone to try to jump in. And of course, we have Clinton in the fifth slot at 46.3, having not played any games of their series just yet. Will be happening in the second week. But that means that the fifth promotion slot could go higher up towards Viet O'Brien, or if Clinton ends up having a kind of rough series, it could end up being that Stanley, Edwin, Matthias, like anyone near zero, has a chance at taking that spot. Very
Yeah, and of course, even if there are extra passes, those will only occur if you are in a positive position. Otherwise, the higher division does not demote per the rules. But we suspect there won't be as many of those this season as there have been in the past. Not necessarily a difference in the changing people going in and out of the league, but more so just because there are so many people coming back, especially in A1, and to a pretty big extent in A2 as well.
right.
I take a
It's
look at the stats here, and Christian, I mean, the 9,000 average win rate, but how many Yakuman?
two at least. It's been two,
I
I'm pretty
think it
sure.
was just the two. I mean, you say just the two. And then Travis there with the dealer Yakuman.
Dealer double Yakuman.
Double Yakuman, that's right. 96,000 kill. A PO on the other end of that with the highest deal in average I've ever seen. But 96K will do that to you.
It will. It really will. That was an absolute tragic moment for Pio, but definitely was a moment to go down in Armel history for Travis. Yeah, the B1
Yeah,
table
it
as a
feels like the
whole.
exciting part is more on the cut line here on the way down. On the way up, it feels relatively secure. Of course, Matthias can make a push. Edwin has a couple games to make a push. Sarah has several games to make a push. There's a big blob of people from Matthias all the way down to Galhan that could, in theory, make a charge on the way up, but really, there's such a gap between basically every spot. 1 to 2 is a gap, 2 to 3 is a gap, 3 to 4 is a gap, 4 to 5 is a gap, and 5 to 6 is a gap.
The players will be watching very closely on Tuesday and Friday as the final table of B1 finishes up. And then after that series is done, they will be in position for the sixth session snake ladder to work its way out, where the tables are determined by your seeding. So first we'll play against 10th, 15th, and 16th place, and then second we'll play against 9th, 14th, and 17th, third against 8th, 13th, and 18th, and so on down the list. Um, I'm not sure you jockeying for position is going to matter too much in terms of who you end up playing against in the tables, but it's always exciting when the sixth session comes around and you've got your you get your table assignments because table
Is
dynamics
that
are
every
relatively.
division? I thought it was just A1 and maybe A2.
I think if the division is large enough, it gets that. So I know A1 and A2 had it. We're the only two leagues who had it for a while, but B1 got it this season as well.
Okay, yeah, that's one of those. It's mildly interesting as you get to the end, but for now, you just play your games, let the chips fall where they may. You just want to not be in the danger of the demotion zone.
All right, looking ahead at the schedule, we are anticipating a C1 match starting. In fact, I have gotten the alert that they have indeed started their match. So in about 2 minutes, we'll be able to see Tomas, Vinny, Yushu, and Alan battling it out in their series. And I will take a couple minutes to go ahead and set up all the information for that game. So as a result, I'll go ahead and take a quick break. When we come back, more Mahjong action in C1 Pool A. See you in a couple.
All right, we're gonna have a game coming pretty soon. Tomas's first dealer. On the right is Vinny. Across the way is Yushu, and on the left is Alan.
I believe this is game 3. They've already done a couple, I think, a little earlier. Just finishing off this series.
홈,
Well, get some action right away. Possible chance to get to it. Ooh, okay. That could just be a Ricci, maybe Sonanko eventually, but lots of routes that hand can go for the dealer. On the right, few pairs. You have 4 of them actually. Maybe Topeka, maybe Chitoy. Across the way though is the Haku, maybe Honitsu. Yeah, I think you Paul. I'd go Honitsu. Like when I see that one, I'm just going. I absolutely call this. Cut the 6 and be ready to sell out.
Thinking about it, thinking strongly about it.
홈,
You don't really care for the. Yeah, okay, there you go. If you draw the 3 or the 6, you're like, okay, fine, whatever.
And maybe
But if you draw any other bond tile, you just go.
if they're anything like me, a Discord message has popped up and is blocking their ability to pull in the tile.
Well, that's what you get for not muting it. On the left, a Hatsu pair, a floating door, a few other pairs as well. Ooh, that 8 on the other hand, that's a little more questionable. It goes and passes that one. If you just flat out want to go for it, you can chi that. The problem is your pair is going to be a mess in that hand, so I think passing's fine. Well, Dora is cut, takes the Kutsuki Ishan 10.
By Mondra convinces Yushu to go for it though. It is Ishanten for 4/7 Mon and a pair, which is almost certainly a
I'd
good deal now.
rather go Doratanki. I am a well-known advocate of Doratanki.
That's true. We do have a door pair on the left. Did that get paired up after the first one came out?
And that got paired up fairly early, I believe.
Okay, nope. Not good call. We do see a opponent on the right though from Vinny. Looks like.
Oh, that's you just smash the button. It's Sonanko
Yeet.
Tenpai.
I thought your Saranko call was a bit premature, but no, you just had the vision.
홈,
Well, may see a deal, Ed. Not yet, but that 2-so seems doomed.
Oh.
Tenpai on the right, waiting on 3 Mon, 7-so. Oh,
Boom.
3-so, Ipat. No, that's right. There was a interruption, but it will be Richinomi, and the 2-so does not deal in. And there, Alan takes a look at it and goes, thanks. Dealer here has a Pinfu type hand, nothing fancy here. On the right, ooh, that 5's a fun draw. Already Ishan 10, potentially Ricci, Pinfu, Tanya Dora. Across the way, Pinfu type hand, kind of loose with a 3, 5, 5, 7, 9 Mon, but the other shapes are okay in Pin with a 4, 4, 5. On the left, few pairs, not much else. I don't like those hands.
Well, more pairs. It's going to be difficult with these shapes to even do anything standard. Unless you drop a couple of 3 pins, which we can see is not going to happen. You might just
Well,
end up
now
with a
you
bad
can
Ricci.
keep some standard options. Let's still cut the 9 Mon. If you really want to buy the Cheetoy, you push the 6 here and set up the Suji trap. And that is going to be the play, a believer in Cheetoy.
Yeah, likely if you're doing something standard, you're dropping 1 pin and going Tanyao.
No, you're keeping the 1-1 in case you draw the 3.
Well, you'll keep it for a while, but in the future, maybe there's Gianpeko. You just draw 3-so, 4-so, 3 pin, 3 pin.
There you go. Well, yeah, that 4-so is just a very aggressive. This is an I'm forcing Cheetoy, I don't care. This is just really bad efficiency with a hand like this. When you have 5 pairs, it's a little more understandable. With 4 pairs, and especially workable shapes like this, you can just go for regular and hedge the Cheetoy. The 8-so doesn't do anything for this hand. The Haku doesn't do anything for this hand. The 9 Mon does potentially allow you to use that Suji trap later, but I think you've gone a little too aggressive here on selling out for the Cheetoy. Meanwhile, dealer here, I think I want to cut that 8 pin if I have an excuse, because the 9 is Furitan. There's only 1 9 left.
It is Ishanten, though. Oh, never mind that.
Well, that's Tenpai. Ricci, Pinfu, just that on the 3-6. We see 0 threes left and 3 sixes.
Interesting that none of the door have been drawn here. So all the players look at that reach and think, oh, that could have a door pair. With all these threes coming
Should
out,
just be the 7-8 and fixes your furry 10. So Ishan 10 now for Tomas.
there's the
If you
first
get
door.
Tempai, I definitely smash the Ricci button and cut the 1. But otherwise, 1 doesn't look great. It doesn't look terrible, though. This really feels like a 2-5 mon weight. We see a Dama on the 3 because it's furry 10. Speaking of furry 10
Oh.
on 3s. Well, now it's Dora 2. So this is Tanya Dora 2/3 waiting on 2-mon 3-so. Of course, both the 2-mons are still on the wall. Uh-oh. Doesn't matter which one you cut. This deal's in.
Yeah, with 2 door, I think you have to
Unless
fight.
you're doing some weird cheat toy shifts, you just deal in here.
Wrong.
Oh, and then you see it's like, as long as I don't flip over, it's fine. Okay, 2,300. We just move on. The aura in those situations really hurts because there's such between 2,000 and 39.
Chi.
But dealer here is Vinny has, I guess, workable shapes. They're defined, but there's not much value here unless you get a late 4, 5, 6 shift. The value is on the right, which is Honitsu, Tone, and maybe another Yakuhai. Across the way, that hand is just hideous. And on the left, possible Itsu upgrades. You can draw some even tiles in Mon, missing the 2, 4, 6. 9 not being an even tile.
Anko of East was drawn, so kind of question mark as to.
Technically, Ishan 10 with the 6-pin and 8-pin needed.
There's the 8.
Easy chi, 100% chi.
Chi.
So I wonder what type of shift we're going to get. 4-pin, obviously the most ideal draw, but kind of awkward as a call. Would you pull in the 4-pin if it came out? Oh, well.
No.
This solves the problem.
This solves your problem very effectively. You always got 5 here. Now, this will only be the 39, but this weight's good enough. If the East comes, I'd call it.
Yeah, sure.
I would absolutely con the East.
I wonder if there's any consideration to. Oh, never
No,
mind.
just deal in. That's going to be 3,900. Nice pickup there for Yushu. Now, we haven't talked about this in the standings. These are all players in the positive position. Yushu, with this score line, would end up jumping into first overall. Allen sitting in a playoff spot right now, likely to be a floor promotion spot. But again, as we always say, we will see. Much more of that information comes out going into the final session, because especially with C1, the question is who will promote and who will be in the playoff to promote. It's already been announced there will not be demotions into a C2 division as was originally planned. But that means that on the other end, if you're down there, you're fine. You don't have to worry about a bad season.
Right.
But we look at these hand. Dealer has a decent one, but you need to fill in some of those shapes. You love the 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8 in Mon, but everything else just needs a little bit of work. And now you have that pin shape. 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Not that shape. On the right.
Tanya.
I mean, it's Tanya. The question is, how can you get the help for it? Especially that 5 being paired on the left. Across the way, a few pairs, not much though. Maybe a 3, 4, 5 Sanchku. On the left, that's an easy call. Ishan 10 would love the Toy upgrade. We'll see if it gets there.
Another hand where no one's drawn the door yet. Now, last time this happened, this 2-mon was drawn very late and paired up. Unfortunately, led to a deal-in. But right now, just about everybody can accept a door, even Vinny on the left. And there's our first one.
Okay, well, that is a brute force on the left. Vinny says, I am going for Toy Toy. I don't care.
You can't stop me from making. If it has to be Tonki, then it's
And
going
that
to.
is the correct decision. Immediately pairs it up.
1 9-pin in the wall, 2 1-mon, and 2 5-pins. So actually,
And the 9-mon looks super safe against this. With the early 7 cut, you're never waiting on 9-mon here.
yeah, but the table will probably be suspecting either Toy Toy or a Dora draw, something around the Dora because of the
Yes.
7-8 cut. We do have Ishanten across the way for Tomas. Very close to being 3 for 5 Sanchiku, but just a little bit short.
Yeah, not there. 6 would be
So pretty
not
wide
Tempai.
Ishan, though. At least you get a Diamond 3-6 Mon. And you also have 4 5 8-pin as well. You can cheat this for Tempai.
Chi.
And Yushu will take it. 3-6 Mon for the Tempai, although that is not very live. In fact, there's only 1 6 Mon in the wall for this weight. Could switch to Shabo, but the 8-pin is part of your call. Well, we did have Vinny draw the 5-pin and is now Tempai on that 1 Mon, 9 Mon. There's one of each child left in the wall.
9-mon would not actually be double roan because this is not. Oh, well, there's Dora. Just throws the Dora.
Chi.
Scary.
That is scary. Does not feel good. Goes in cheese for Tempai.
Oh, there's another.
And punished.
Oh, but there's the 1 Mon. 2 Soak come out first.
2 So's 100% safe here.
Sumo.
Oh, just sumo.
Greed pays for Vinny.
Toy Toy Chun gets her 200 out of it, and that's going to be first place going to East 4.
Alan in the dealer's seat. Dora's the 4, so no Yakuhai pair here, but the shapes are okay. Will be a opponent of the East from Tomas, though.
With 2 Dora, you don't have to think too hard. The only question here is, are you going to sell it on Toy Toy, or will you just settle for the East Dora too?
These shapes definitely feel
Dealer's
a little bit
hand
trickier.
Dealer's hand is okay, but not great. You have the 1 3 5 5 7. Other shapes are okay. Across the way, Chun pair, workable shapes, but not much. Actually, that's Ishan 10 for Richidora 1, isn't it?
Home.
You might even pass this, but I mean, I'm calling because I like Dorataki.
Definitely a much more flexible Ishanten. On the left, technically Ishanten as well, but
Dealer,
without
not
the
technically
value.
Ishan 10. You get Ishanten, you get Ishanten, you get Ishanten, and the one hand that looked great to start with is not Ishanten.
Yeah, but none of these.
Ooh, that's a nice draw there for Yushu.
That does improve the shape quite a bit. And of course, choosing to drop the Penchan not only for the Penchan versus Kanchan reason, where Kanchan is usually easier to upgrade,
But you
but
can
also
always accept a Dora.
Well,
Speaking of accepting Dora,
not if they get Akkoed up on the right.
now we have everyone in Ishanten.
Oh wow! You
Oh
could
my!
drop the 6-pin and go for Toy Toy. This is less efficient for sure, but the upgrade paths are better.
I think you always cut 9 so here, because that way you can accept a 3 or a 4. Oh, I don't like the 1 so at all. Well, now you just cut the 5 and you don't have to think too hard about it. 3-sided weight for Tone Dora 3, and there it goes.
You don't think it's that cheap until it flips up. Wow, surprise Mongon.
Yeah, hey, I was waiting on 4-7. You're not allowed to do that.
After that big Mongon win, Tomas will jump into first place, moving into South 1.
Great dealer hand here. Possible 2, 3, 4 Sanjuku and a Haku pair. On the right, a whole bunch of disconnected garbage, and across, A West Call with 2 Dora already round and rum and Ishan 10.
Yeah, it definitely feels like Yushu's hand. On the left, we've got, of course, that Shun pair that could try to outspeed this. And it can't accept a door. It's just only 2 door in the wall to find.
Tomas passes. We'll see if Alan does the same should the tune come out.
Well,
Oh,
just
never
draw it.
mind.
And now the question is, which Kanchan do you drop? Goes with the So shape. Perhaps likes the
This
ability.
does allow you to keep the Ipeco option, although you could still do that with a 4 pin.
Mm-hmm. We do have the Tempai for Shador 2, waiting 2-5, so 3 tiles left in the wall for this one. And Tomas might have to discard the 5-step depending on the draw into Tempai. Of course, if the Haku comes out now, I think he'll probably call it. And
Well, with 2 calls on board, you figure you're behind.
Right.
There's a tune, not going to take the con, but the Tuso will deal in for 3,900.
Yeah, it just didn't fit in the hand. And Vinny will be the
Nice
dealer
pickup
now.
for Yushu, and now we're 100 points between first and second. But currently we have 4th place dealer here who starts off drawing a Dora, always a good improvement to a hand, even if it's a Tuso floater. Potential Tanya shifts now. On the right, Pinfu type hand. Ooh, maybe even the Itsu. Now you have a 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I'm definitely looking for an excuse to go Itsu. Across the way, nice little Tanya type hand with a Dora there as well. Maybe a 2, 3, 4 Sanchikush or 3, 4, 5 later. And on the left, a whole bunch of Mon tiles and a couple floaters. That's another one where the question is, do you go Richi Pinfu Tanya, maybe Peiko, maybe Dora, or do you just sell out on the Honitsu?
On the right, Yushu was faced with a very interesting decision after pairing up the north, who had floating the double south, floating the Itsu with the 1-so, floating 789 Sanchoku, and just having the good floating 4 Mon. Decided to cut the
has
south.
The option to chi the 8 and does not take it, instead draws something connected to that floating 7 pin, so we'll be able to make this into a regular hand. They said that 8 pin is very inefficient here by Vinny. Definitely hoping to pair up the Yakuhai and call, but normally you just give up, especially with the tune already being 1 cut. It's not that useful.
Yeah, it's soon to become twice cut. We'll need to draw it very quickly. At this point, I think you have to give up on one of the honor tiles.
Definitely a believer in tune.
In this instance where East is not the round wind, I tend to have more faith that it's in the wall than with the dragons.
All right, because normal discard order has you, everyone wants to get rid of it as soon as possible, based on the fact dealer can call it for Yakuhai. And no one else can really use it except as a pair.
We do have Ishanten on the right for potentially Peiko. Oh, this is slightly wider. We could draw an Anko of the north. Well, I guess we can't do the north, that's twice cut, but we could draw Anko of the 9 pin. Or we could go for Chitoi or Ishanten.
Is that... No, doesn't take it. Let me see. What is that shape?
It's 5 pairs.
That's hurting my head. Yeah.
7, 8, 9.
It's keeping the Ipeco as the main route.
Right.
Oh, well, now it's just Shinitsu, I think, they're on the left. Oh, never mind. There's your Tempai. It would be Richi Nomi. Oh, actually, I don't like this at all because the pay is dead. I think you just chase this down. That has to be Tempai, doesn't it? Let's see. 7s. No, that's not Tempai.
I guess it
Instead
actually
just folds out anyway.
It would have been Tempai on the 1 mod
on the
7
6
Shabo,
mod.
which was dead, or the you could choose the Kanchan. And you could also choose the 6 mod. So there are a couple different options for Tempai there, but none of them were amazing. Notably, Tomas here dropping the 9-mon, holding the 3-pin just in case this ends up shifting back into...
Well,
Don't.
okay,
Tanya.
does win it, so get something out of it. It is a Riichi Nomi. No aura, but extends into first place now. So Yushu does get at least something from it. And now has dealer with a Yakuhai East pair. And the rest is Yakuhai South pair as well. Easily callable hand. Now I mean go Honitsu. I don't even like this the West cut. I'd probably get Duso. You also have Sanjuku with the 6-7-8 as an option, especially with the 6 being door. Oh my goodness, or just stay closed for everything.
With draws like
That's
these,
a
it might as well.
ridiculous hand developing. On the right, 4 pairs. Great shapes there as well, especially if you draw 6 so. Across the way, 2 Dora. Probably a Tanya type hand, even with that East pair. And on the left, speaking of Yakuhai pairs, oh no. Oh no, Kyushu is pair locked on both Yakuhai.
Wow. Less than 9-pin pass, which I approve of, and this is a very wide Ishan 10 that's probably going to end up on Shabo East South. Now, there's a chance that if Farichi comes out, Tomas might
The
discard
East may
East
come out.
We'll have to see if Vinny... We saw some greed from Vinny earlier. Might try for a Honitsu here. No, just drops
No,
the
just
9.
keep your... Well, there's your tempai. That's an easy smash the button. Well, you see where the winning tiles are. There aren't any of them in the wall.
Yeah, we check the defense. I mean, Tomas has 3-so, 3-so Suji. A relatively safe Suji as well. But yeah.
Don't.
No, deals in Riichi told.
Oh,
and the aura,
hurts.
and that hurts. And that's actually a great result for Kyushu, who's now not only at 44k, but everyone else is under 30. I think it's another pretty good starting hand here. Possible Riichi, Pinfu, Tanyao, Ipeko, Dora 2, maybe even some Sanshoku shifting later. On the right, 2 Dora there, though. So I think that's just a call and go hand, which is probably going to be the fastest. The hand across isn't bad either. You see the shapes are pretty well defined. It's going to be hard to call given that each pair. And on the left, not a bad hand, just worse than everyone else's.
And Alan even is drawn into Ishanten now, so Shapon 1-4 pin call. Even
and I
Dora.
think if you get the 1-4 pin, I would take the Shampoo.
Absolutely. The Shaw just feels like a good enough weight. And you could just get Mongon if
And it's
if you
more
draw
value. And of course, if you sumo the Shaw, you get extra value anyway, because you get the extra food.
It'll be kind of interesting to see how Tomas uses this Dora 2-mon. Because usually if you expect to draw 3, then use the 4-mon as a pair and a sequence. Then the East has to come out, and actually that's exactly what Tomas uses. You just discard the East right away, shift this into Tanyao, and give yourself the ability to use the door more easily. Wow.
Well, speaking of just draw the Shaw, and now if the 4th one comes, I'd con it.
Yeah, and if the 2-mon ever leaves anyone's hand for whatever reason, you can pull it. Now,
yeah, pawn and cut the West. Good luck with that, though.
Yeah,
although it is possible.
I
could definitely see it coming out of Vinny's hand. It doesn't fit it at all.
Yushu has the last one now.
Yeah, because there's been one called, so that's not going to happen.
Still, what a great weight, and I'm very curious to see the Shaw get drawn and discarded. See if there could be a call. If Alan would con it, I think he would.
I don't think you'd actually be getting extra foo on a run, but on a sumo you would boost up to 50 foo. Oh, this may be the deal, Ed.
Don't.
Yeah, it feels like
and it's going to be the 5200 because that Anko of the Shaw, a whole bunch of extra foo, and that's going to put Alan back over 30k and dealer and all last. A dealer Mongon would be a comeback, and you look at this hand, you're like, this stupid 1-pin doesn't fit. Oh wait, it's Dora. I have to use it.
I don't know. Alan might just throw it out there if this turns into Tanyao.
Well, what if you just draw the 3-pin and don't have to worry about any of it?
That would be
That'd be my
nice.
dream here with a 1, 2, 4, 5. On the right, few pairs, not much to work with there. Across the way, similarly, 3 pairs, hand's a bit of a mess. And on the left, 3 pairs, and the hand has some paths to getting to not being a mess, but it's a mess.
Most of those paths involve dropping the door anyway. So, what do you
Yeah.
think
So, well,
about?
the other thing here is Alan has such an awkward hand. You honestly want to hedge toward Cheat Toy, even with just 3 pairs. Because unless you draw a 3, whether it be 3 mon or 3 pin, you're probably going to have to cut one of your blocks. Because the way I would read this hand is 2, 4 plus 4, 5 plus 1, 2 plus 4, 5 plus 2, 2, 3 plus 7, 7. So you play it 6 block as long as possible. I would cut 2 mon here.
Same. And I was looking at the hand to the left, wondering if you would play for like a Junchan, but the door ended up getting cut in the name of uh efficiency, and it could have been Doko. It'd be very funny if you.
No, well, now the hand just going to play itself, I think. The only question is if 3 pin comes out, you call it and cut Dora. Because that would fix your shapes immensely. Oh, well, now you don't have to think too hard about it. I think you just got the 5 mon here. Your Ishan 10, it will likely be Ricci Dora 1.
Boom.
But if you draw a 3-pin, you can always just cut the Dora yourself, go Ricci Tanya. But the 6-pin, having been pulled now, isn't this 4-5 not great?
Boom.
Yeah, might end up taking a Shapo instead.
And we're just seeing a brute force Toy by Tomas says, this is the only way I'm getting any value out of this hand, so let's go. Toy double south would be Mongon. And we see a Dama across the way with no Yaku waiting on the 7,
I love this from Yushu. I want to see the 1 mon come out. Please draw a 4 mon.
And there's the Ricci waiting on that 7, there's 1 left in the wall.
Boom.
That's going to be a pull, and I mean, you just got to shove at this point if you've made this decision. The 4 doesn't look that bad, I don't think.
With the 5 being pulled, it's like 1 chance. Don't necessarily have Suji for
Not
1-4,
quite, but
but
oh, well, there goes Dora, so you don't have to worry about that as much.
it also gives Alan the ability to drop the Dora and
Oh,
call
I think
for
you absolutely
Tanyo.
cheat this and shove 3,
Ooh.
I think not taking that is a mistake. Because with the 5's palm, that is a 1 chance, and it fixes all your problems. You could even pick up Junkon.
That would be amusing. Well, this is technically Tempai.
I
Sanmenchan
think you
doesn't feel
have
very
to take the
good.
Tempai payments.
Oh.
Oh, well, you actually made Tempai. The problem is the 2 in your discards, so we'll Dama this on the Furry 10. Of course, the 2-5 is absolutely abysmal here. I think it's dead. Yeah, it's completely dead. But we're going to see Tempai structures everywhere. Everyone is currently Tempai. Now, with that draw. Wait, oh, there's the 5.
But that
Does
doesn't
not
deal on the
deal in.
left. Oh, that's... Alan can maintain Tempai
Yeah, that's
here.
actually better. You could throw the 2
Tuso.
and actually have a workable Tempai.
You can also cut the 4 if you want.
Oh,
But
just
this is better.
Sumo.
Wow.
It is just Toy, but I think you have to take it. The Ricci stick gets you
He's
over
counting
30K.
through right now.
Yeah, it's enough. You take it.
Yep.
I don't think
there's a Ricci stick too.
Yes. Oh no. Oh, if this ends. Oh, this could be a disaster. And dealer just breaks down.
Oh, it is a disaster.
Haite! The immediate punish. Reach Sumo Haite.
Misses.
No Ura, but it will hurt Tomas quite a bit there. But doesn't lose that much. But I think what would have been over 30K for sure,
Yeah,
especially
for sure.
with that Ricci stick. But
Wow.
in first place, going to be Hushu. In second is going to be Alan. In third, we have Tomas. And in last is going to be Vinny.
Even missing the Uda, not escaping 4th place, Vinny would
You
have
feel
been the
good
only
hitting
player.
Haite. Sumoing Haite always feels good.
Would have been the only player below 30,000 with the 7 months ago. So ended up saving a lot of points with that pass. And with that victory, Yushu is going to take first place overall temporarily. There's one more game for this table to finish.
All right. Well, I think I have something I need to take care of, so I'm going to drop out. Nice getting some commentary in. And have a good evening, everyone. I think Nathaniel will be taking over solo cast for the remaining game.
Excellent. Thanks again, Korak, for stopping by. Always fun to do commentary with you. And what an incredible finish to that game. I'd be very curious to hear thoughts about from the players after that past sumo. I'm sure there was some strategy to that. But ending up with a high Tate sumo, of all things, was definitely very fun to see. We will have that last game come in. They've started already. We might be joining a few seconds late even, but it'll be Vinny, the first dealer, Yushu on the right. Tomas across the table. And Alan on the left. East 1, game number 4. Vinny opens up to a reasonable high fight. Dora eats a chance at the Pinzu. Probably pretty slow builder though. On the right, Yushu has the ability to open up on the south. Would be slow south. We are in the east rounds again. Could end up on Dora Tonki potentially. And if you draw some Onkos, could get a little fancy. Across the way, Tomas with the Onko of the 1-so. Lots of so tiles, and well, that 8-pin, after having discarded one before, now says, you know what? This door acceptance is good enough. Let's just float everything other than the Manzu. Left Alan with the most standard hand, I guess. 2 away from Tenpai here. Looking for a diamond improvement in the Manzu. Something like the 5 Mon or the 5 So or the 7 So would be great draws. Dealer looking to call the Haku here. Unfortunately, that's buried in the wall somewhere, and Dora finally leaves the hand of Yushu, as this is Ishanten on the right. Still no south, no Haku. The important Yakuhai tiles buried in the wall. And now, do you hedge Sananko? You could do something like cut 2 So or 5 So and give yourself that as a possibility. However, with the 7 Mon being once cut, Yushu backs away from that. Even here, you could try to force Sananko, but the 2 So likewise has been cut already. This is Yamen Ishanten, so we'll upgrade off of this Kanchan. With so many of the 7s and 9s being cut, you actually think that the 8 Mon is probably in the wall and would be a good wait if you could reach on it. However, the 8 Mon is thrice cut as well, so forget those plans. Vinny will actually open up here. Ishanten with a great desire to call the Haku. Otosuke does not have a Yaku without the White Dragon. Alan has to consider potentially dropping the 4 So and taking a Jiankan and a Kanchan weight, but this is just to maintain the current current shapes of the hand. For Yushu here, holding onto the 9 Mon for safety, but there's some reason to hold on to this 5 So because you can draw into Ipeko. And honestly, you can give yourself a Chitoi chance as well. If you were to say drop the 2 So or even the 9 So for that matter. It is Tenpai here. But we will see Tomas pushing for Honitsu. Honitsu Shaw with a lot of Fu. He's 7 So pretty badly. Ishanten for Alan with Richi Pinfu. There's the south. Pulling into Tenpai. Waiting 1-4. So that wait's not as good as it looks. In fact, it is 1. There's 1 tile in the wall. Could switch to Furiten Shabo. Let's not do that. It is hesitating on this 5 so, but it's very clear that Tomas needs these Sozu tiles. And Alan sees this and says, you know what? I'm not dropping this Haku, so Vinny's going to struggle to win this hand unless Tomas draws it. It just doesn't really fit the hand. It's inefficient to keep. We'll hold it, though. There's the one, so Alan's already decided he's out of this hand. So that's going to be held forever. This is an upgrade. 147 now. Gives Yushu better chances to win. And the 3 still is Genbutsu to Tomas, so no problem to drop that. Oh, not the 3. Well, you probably just... Okay, it throws the 9 pin instead. Now has...
Kang.
Technically wider weight. No glory with the con. But there's the 7 on the follow-up. So that's going to be a ton of food. 1 in 60. How's that to get essentially 2 Han? Yushu will be picking up the 2,000 points to start off this game. Right, East 2. Dealer is the winner of the previous hand. Nice shapes here. Hawk pair this time for the dealer. And again, Haku nowhere in sight, so we'll see if it's just as long of a wait as it was in the last hand. Shapes are pretty strong though for a call and go. And you have door acceptance as well. On the right, reasonable shapes for this hand as well. A few honor tiles to chew through, but hey, pair it up and you're feeling pretty good. Across the way, 2 Dora Tanya shapes. If you can fill 5 pin and 7 pin, you can think about doing something like Pain Fruit, but those are pretty heavy asks. More likely that you'd open up for Tanya itself. The left hot spare, hedging strongly the Onitsu, dropping the 1-2 pin, and then immediately backfiring on the 3 pin. A true Mahjong classic. Dealer has improved these shapes quite nicely. This is actually Ishanten with a chance at 4-5-6 Santoku. If you do end up reaching on the 3 Mon, at least it'll be Suji trapped. But I suspect if the Haku comes out at least before a 4 Mon or 5 Mon is drawn, we'll see a call. And there's the Tanya Pon from Al and Ishanten now. Even here, after players opened up with an easily usable Dora for Tanya, Yushu says, I need safety. I do not want to hold this 6 Mon any longer than I have to. And it's become a little less useful given that the 8s and 7s are coming out. Ooh, Tempai found, and actually Alan just throws out the Dora. Is willing to accept only 2,000 points for this hand. There are some alternate ways to play this, of course. 7 so or 5 Mon discard. Completely viable.
Each.
Oh, we'll see a Ricci though after the Haku pull from dealer. And oh no, immediately a Dora draw that would deal into the dealer, but decides not to push that after the Ricci. And now, question posed to the dealer. Do you switch the weight here? Takes the Genbutsu 2 pin. 5 pin will also win. This Ricci, by the way, is Chitoy. Oh, wow, it deals in. Ricci Chitoy. Oh, the Uda was the winning tile after all. And 3,200 plus the Ricci stick back. And Tomas will jump into a slim lead here in East 3. Turns out the only way to play that hand for Alan would have been to drop the 5 Mon pair. Tomas opens up to a reasonable high pie. There are Tanyao shifts here. 4, 5, 6 Sanchoku is available. Could have considered the Itsu and dropped the 1 mon instead of the 1 pin first, but gets rewarded by just pairing up the 1 mon and now has reasonably defined shapes here. But there's already Tempai across the way. It is Richinomi, and Vinny doesn't want just Richinomi here, so decides it's early enough that I can just Dama for a little bit and see if I can draw any of my upgrades, where upgrades are the Haku, 4 pin or the 1 pin for Ipeiko.
リーチ
Well, wait 1 turn. Maybe draws the Sanzo and says it's a sign. Declares the Richi. And if you paired up the 7 or 8 mon, probably would have taken the Shabo Richi, waiting on the Haku there. As it is, there are a decent number of tiles in the wall for this wait. Well, as I say that, they're all getting drawn. Now only 3 left in the wall. Kind of difficult for all these players with such an early Richi. That 1 mon pair now becomes 2 safe tiles for Tomas. Might end up fighting here now that that 8 pin fill was found. You could try to pass the 2 so. That goes with the half Suji 6 so. Tough draw.
ロン
Ends up holding the Ishanten and dealing in for Richinomi. Only 1300. That does tighten the scoreline up a little bit. Vinny back over 30k. And it will be Alan's dealership. Wow, that high pie looks amazing. Haku, of course, the natural first cut. Ishanten already for Richi Pinfu. The 6 so would be an excellent in-between draw to give yourself potential Peiko and Tanya as well. Hatsu comes out, we will see a Pon from Yushu, who also has the East pairs backup as well. Ooh, interesting. You could cut the 1 mon and hedge Ipeiko draw. And yeah, Alan, definitely a very spicy dealer hand. Second call. Ishanten already with Diankan, Diaman. Quite strong for Yushu. Might be cutting this dealer hand short. Especially with that 2 pin kind of floating in Vinny's hand. That might come out in the next 4 discards. But Tabas on the left with strong shapes. Oh, sorry. 2 pin is Dora. There's no way that's going to come out so easily. Just draw it yourself. And this is a 4/7, so wait. With 4 tiles in the wall for Saktan, for Yushu. Also, Dianjaten on the left. With callable shapes, I suspect Tommaso is probably trying to keep this close, but against 2 calls, there is a little bit of incentive to open up to match speed. But just opening it for 1,000 might not be the way to go.
Sumo
found will be double Yakukai and a Dora for 4,000, and just like that, Yushu back in the lead. And this has been a relatively fast game already in South 1. Vinny as dealer. High pie, not good. It's messy. Really want the Dora draw to add 1 more good shape into our hand. And of course, we always want Dora. But it's going to be difficult to make something out of this one. The nice thing is that these tiles can accept good shapes pretty easily. You just have to draw them, and so far, things have been going quite slowly. On the right, 2 diamond shapes, 3 diamond shapes for Yushu. The ability to pair up the double into south for the time being, and a great Kanchan fill. Across the way to Dora, 3 pairs, which those 3 pin, 4 pins probably going to be sequences in this hand because it does very much look like can be built to a Tanya or towards a Pinfu. And maybe even both at the same time. Alan, a great fill on the left. Dion Shanten. Potentially Peiko in the middle. Sozu. Looking for an improvement of this Mon shape. Either draw the 3 Mon and complete the shape, or draw 5 Mon for the door acceptance. Vinny still slowly making progress. That is a great 5-pin draw. Exactly what Tomas is looking for. And the question for him is going to be, what is your pair? If you draw another 2-pin or 5-pin, currently your head candidate would actually be the Dora, the Russian Tanki. This 1-mon draw helps because you can use the 3-pin as the pair if you draw 3-6 and wait with the Yamen 5-8. And you can also draw a number of other pair candidates. For example, 1-4-7 mon, you can discard the Dora for your Tempai. Every time I look back at the dealer's hand, it's made a little bit of progress, but it still looks awkward. This is Ishanten, though. And actually, quite interestingly, chooses to discard the 9-pin immediately instead of something like the 2 or 5 so. And maybe this is your reward. You draw the 5, 6, 7. Actually, could have considered discarding something like 2-pin, 2-pin, or 7 so, 7 so to go for guaranteed Sanchoku. But instead, we will have the 3 mon draw. So the 6 mon will act as the pair in the hand, and either 3 or 6 mon draw would have worked for that. Richi, Pinfu, Dora 2, the Peiko chance on the 5-pin. The weight has 1 tile left in the wall, but Vinny saddled with this 5-pin in hand. If he finds Tempai, he might find himself dealing in. Oh no, that's Tempai waiting on Dora. Yeah, now goes the 5. And will be Takame here. Reach Pinfu, Peiko, Dora 2. No Ura, so only the Mongon. Thankfully for Vinny here, but Tomas, with that big win, will jump into first place, heading into South 2. And we'll see if, as dealer, Yushu has a response here. Towards the north, we have a singleton of the north in our hand. East gets paired up after being once cut, but it's still there's still 1 more in the wall, so we can see a future pon of the east for Yakuhai. On the right, there's a lot of so tiles, and with these shapes, I think it's more likely that we end up being Richi Penfu than Honitsu. And yeah, 4, 5, 6 shape confirmed. Ishanten already. There is Hipeiko chance here for Tomas. We'll see what happens if the 8 so is drawn. Could Richi 6, 9 and so in that instance, dropping the 6 mon. Across the way, those shapes look kind of okay. Dora. The pair Kanchan combo is a little awkward at both the Manzu and the Sozu, but the 6, 7, 7, 8 shape in the Pinzu is quite nice. And it's sort of moving in the direction of a Tanyao. 5, 7, 7, 9 Mon. Pair with a Kanchan on either side. 4, 6, 6, 8 so is the same shape. I'm feeling very sad looking at this. And there's Tempai. Oh, that wasn't the Tempai we were looking for, though. Just on a Kanchan, and not even willing to take this Richi. On the left, we've got Ipeco, a multitude of pairs. There's a chance that if we draw 7, we just got 1 mon, 1 mon. Take our Pihu Shanten. Oh, slight backfire for dropping the 3 mon. It was a little more efficient to cut the 8-pin, 9-pin, but after having delved into Mongon, Vinny definitely thinking about building value in Ipeco. It's just an extra Han. Reach Ipeco. You find Sumo, hit Uda 2 or something like that. You can definitely make a Mongon out of that. Things really awkward here for Alan. Just too many pairs. Ends up just throwing the 5 right back out. Ishanten for Vinny now. Still looking for that 7 pin. There's one in the wall. Ooh, do you take the Kanchan here? Yeah. Diankan, I mean. 4 Mon and 6 Mon for Toyman will both work. It's been a while since I've checked in with the dealer hand. It looks like it could be Chanta Sanchoku with 2 Dora. Wow. A hand has made some drastic progress, although the 6 means we are just Ishanten. Do you cut one of the pairs and go for Sanchoku? You could go east to east here and be relatively comfortable opening your
Each.
hand, but the problem is the 1 pin is not very live.
1
And Tomas waited until near the end of the second row, just took the Ricci, immediately gets chased down by a much better weight here. There are 2 7 Mon in the wall versus 2 5 pin. But Ricci, Tanyao, Pinfu with the Peiko chance for Allen. It's going to be hard for dealer to fight here. Ends up dropping the told pair instead. Despite the value it housed in hand. Well, now back to Ishanten. I mean, if you draw Tenpai, do you just fight? Could even call here for K10, but I'm not sure if the 5-so is pushable.
1
Is going to take it. Oh, drop pay, though. Making a different fight for K10. Really hoping for 1 pin, 4 pin. And actually just draws the 5-so. The 1's not going to deal in. The 4's not going to deal in. 1 Mon, relatively... Oh, Toyman... Oh, yeah, it's relatively safe with the Suji. Actually, 100% safe, so good push there. Yushu has to pass 1 more tile. 3 pin is safe. South. Chun. Everyone gets there safely. Vinny had to bail out against 3 players pushing. And in the end, will be... Well, no exchange between first and second place. The gap remains the same. Outside of the Ricci stick that's in the middle of the table from Tomas. So I guess there's only 1,400 point gap now. With 2 sticks and a homba, definitely... I'm sure that either of the 2 players over 3,000 will be fighting for the fastest hand possible. And even Allen will probably accept a relatively cheap hand to steal those points away moving into South 3. On the left, Vinny needs a little bit more than just a couple thousand points. Although even that gap of 6,000 could be halved by a 1-on hand to 3rd place. So definitely can consider opening here, especially given that Vinny on the left has 2 honor pairs and potential Honitsu in the Dora suit. Our dealer feels a penchant. Still has 1 more to work through. And it's a Dora penchant as well. 2 pair up. Callable hand. That's exactly what you're looking for something fast. The South is passed, though, by Vinny. Vinny's trying to do more than just South only or South Honitsu. On the right, that is Ishanten for Tomas. Just choosing which Kanchan to discard, the 2-4 Mon or the 3-5 pin. Retains the slightly more central 3-5 pin. Perhaps part of the reason is that 3 Mon's already been cut. However, the pins definitely do look a little more expensive. Oh, actually dropped the 1 pin. Could have held the Diankan and dropped the 4 instead, but values the ability to draw the 5 Mon and have a good shape there. S is Tenpai. Do you just Ricci? Ricci plus 1 is
1
technically enough. You could wait, try to upgrade into 789 Sanchoku, but yeah, just slams the Ricci. Allen's got an interesting hand across there with all of those pairs. It is Chitoi Shantan.
ポン
Forget that. It's Toy Toy Ishantan. Ooh, Chi
Chi.
into Ishanten on the left for Vinny.
ポン
Fighting for that Honitsu. But there's the call on the Tenpai for Allen. Waiting 2-so, 7-so. There's no tiles in the wall. In fact, the only way that Alan wins this hand is if the 2-so leaves dealer. Four sills, a rough push for Vinny, but at this point, might just need to fight for this hand. There's the south. It's come up once before. And we'll get a call into Tempai.
本
South Honitsu waiting Ton and Iping, but only one of each tile left in the wall. Oh, there's the east, though. It comes right out.
ドン
So Alan will deal in, and that's notably direct competition for Vinny, who will now take over in third place. Wow, what a swing. Tomas now will take the dealership. After giving away another Ricci stick, the gap is only 400 points now between first and second place here. Ooh, that 7, so it's a great draw, allows you to accept a Dora very cleanly. Still needs a couple more shapes in this hand, and the current penchant in the lower Pinzu is not very strong. On the right, could be Tanya with Dora. Even this 8889 shape is a good final weight if you end up getting a Ricci there. But ooh, Hatsu pair is interesting, and there might be some incentive to open up here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Alan pass the first Hatsu, though. Across the way, that is Ishanten already for Ricci Tanya Pinfu with 5-8 Mon, 2-5 So as the necessary tiles for Tempai. On the left, Yushu with 2 Dora calls into Ishanten. 6 Mon, not a very live tile, and the 8 Mon doesn't really help here because this has to be Tanya. So 6-9 weight can only win on the 6 anyway. Might as well keep the 5-7 shape, and if this way, if you draw the 4 Mon, you have a better final shape in the future. If I'm Yushu here, though, I kind of want to drop the 7 sooner rather than later. Uh-oh. Khan into South Dora. Yeah, drops the 7, but now the South is a dangerous tile. It is Shompai, so very scary to drop the round win against, well, anybody who can call it. This 8 won't give Tempai, so I don't see any particular reason to open up here. Uh-oh. Oh, no. I think we just had an internet glitch, and everyone disconnected temporarily. Looks like they're all back, though. This might be a 10-0 thing, but it looks like players didn't lose that much. Yeah, no loss here, fortunately. Whew. I'm sure that was scary for everyone who temporarily disconnected. On the right, that is Ishanten with the Peiko chance. At this point, almost everyone, yeah, everyone is Ishanten. Yeah, there's the Hatsuanko. Okay.
1
Ricci on the 9. Gives extra foo, and also you can con the 8 Mon if you draw it. Ricci, Hatsudora 1. This is a significant hand for Alan. 4-7 pin, though. Only 2 left in the wall. Yushu has Gambutsu to play out. Actually just pushed the 2 pin, given that it was Kabe and one's cut. Dealer Ishanten still making use of this Dora. Finally, a Tempai found for Yushu, winning 3-6 Mon. It is Gembutsu to the Ricci, but all the 3 Mons are out, so the more dangerous 6 Mon still floating. There's only one of those in the wall. This is a wider Ishanten if he feels like pushing the 5. Can you push the 5? I'll be honest, it does not look good at all. And chooses to just throw it back. Now Yushu has to make that choice. The 4-mon is Genbutsu, so you can just switch the weight to Dora Shabo. And now if Tomas finds Tenpai, would actually be dealing in on the 5-mon. But dodges on his last discard. And then he will also break away at the end. So it will be Yushu and Alan picking up the 1500 apiece at Ryukyoku. 1 Richi stick, 1 Homba. We're in all last. The point gap between 4th place and 3rd place is 3,400 with the points in the middle. So it doesn't take a lot for Alan to catch up here as dealer. Similarly, between Tomas and Yushu, the gap is 2,600. So a 1 and 40 hand will tie. And an Itsumo is going to be good enough there as well for Tomas to overtake. Could pon here. Lets it pass though, likes these shapes. In fact, it's just going to drop the north pair. And to some degree, this is probably Tomas taking into consideration that he's positive, but he wants to have a chance, as best of a chance as possible in the promotion. He has a whole 4 more games to play, but not only does he have a chance at first place here, but a very good first with something like a Richi, Pinfu, Tanyao, Dora, instead of just a measly north only. On the right, though, Vinny's hand is quite sparkly. Could be 3 for 5 Sanchoku. Could be with a Dora. Could be Richihatsu. Seven pin is good cut. This shape is going to stay this way until Tenpai is found. Could have opened there for Tenpai, but that's not enough. Matsudora 1 is going to stay closed. Look for something better. Alan is shifting this to Tanyao. Too many pairs, though. What's going to come out? 7 so? Yeah. Another pair is not what we're looking for. Maybe 5 pin here in order to give yourself maximum Onko draws into Tenpai. Actually, instead chooses the 5 so. So looking perhaps for Ipeko. Well, it seems a little bit tricky to put together. We will see 2 calls into Tenpai for Yushu, waiting on 6-mon and 7-mon for Tanyao only. There's the Dora draw. Ishonten for this monster hand. Could be 3 for 5 Sanchoku. If only Tomas could get there before a deal happens.
Richi.
We're going to see the Richi. Anko drawn. It's going to be the Shabo weight 3-pin Hatsu. Maybe this is what Vinny was waiting for. This would be a monster San Anko on Tsumo. And there's a Hatsu in the wall, as well as a 3-pin. Tomas probably just has to fight here. Alan has to fight as well. Plays the half Suji 4-mon. Woo. Across the way, Yushu has no choice but to fight. And so everyone's going for it. Who will get there first? There's the 3-pin. That's dodged. Oh my. Goes with the Suji. Suji 7 and gets out of trouble. This is Tenpai for Alan on the 6. 2-pin clears. So Vinny drawing to 1 tile on the wall. Pull and switch weight to 4-7, but the 4-7 is Huriten. It's a very awkward weight here. The 3 comes out anyway as the 6-9 Suji was not cleared. 2 is the Dora indicator. The Richi Dora, no Uda found, but all those Richi 6 at least is some compensation. It's not going to be enough to get Vinny over 30,000, unfortunately. And that deal-in, though, will mean that Yushu drops to 2nd place. So there will be some positions being exchanged in this final hand. Tomas takes the 1st place, plus 20.9. Yushu takes a nice positive 2nd place, positive 10.0. Vinny, negative 6.5 in the 3rd place. Alan, negative 24.4, 4th. And for our final scoreboard update of the evening, Yushu finishes the 16th game in first place overall in the division, plus 227.6, tied with, or not tied with, but just barely ahead of Ricky. They both have 4 more games to play in the regular season to get up to 20 games. Allen does drop outside of the currently listed promotion playoff spot, but still has 4 more games to play as well. And for Vinny and Tomas, both in the positives, Tomas making up some ground here with more games to play. Yeah, Ricky, you've got quite a battle ahead of you, but currently both you and Yushu are in great position for a guaranteed promotion slot. It is possible that there may be more than just 2 guaranteed promotions, as are currently visible here, but no guarantees on that. It will really depend on how things shake up before the final session. But very excited to see how that all plays out. And this, of course, is only half of the C1 division. The Pool A that we're looking at right now. There is whole nother pool that also has 2 promotion slots guaranteed and 2 playoff positions to give to the 2 players in the playoffs from Pool B, and Pool A will duke it out in the final session, where I believe the top 2 advance. Of course, thanks to admin for sharing the playoff situation a little bit earlier. It is a little bit complicated, but definitely makes things very exciting coming down to the last session, which is coming soon. We are about to start the 2nd week of session 5, and once that's finished, we will just about be set to play that all important final session where playoff spots are to be determined, or not just playoff spots, promotions are to be determined. Demotions in all divisions will be decided, and it is truly the most exciting session. I cannot wait for that to begin. That being said, that is the final game of the evening, so we will have more coverage next week. Of course, our regular Wednesday broadcast is going to be occurring. I believe Harrison will be on the controls for that evening, and I don't have dates for any other guaranteed broadcasts, but I do see that on Monday there is a very busy day of action, so I suspect that there is very likely to be an evening broadcast on Monday, and also Saturday of next week, early in the morning, is going to be a very exciting table with both JPML Pro players duking it out against each other. 8 a.m. Pacific time, Jen versus Garth versus Vikram and Josh. I definitely think we'll be trying to cast that one, if at all possible. So look forward to that Saturday on the 9th. Thanks everybody for tuning in to this Sunday evening stream. It's rare we get one at this time. If you are interested in watching more, make sure to follow us on Twitch. Make sure to visit the YouTube channel, which works with the tiny URL link that's on your screen, or you could also just go to youtube.com/@AmericanRicci. You can also visit our Twitter @AmericanRicci as well for potential exciting things like Yakuman and also future broadcast dates. And finally, if you'd like to be a part of the league in the upcoming fall session, you can sign up on our website, AmericanRicci.org. Registration deadline is about 2 weeks away, September 18th. You will want to make sure to sign up before that deadline to be a part of the league in the fall. That being said, looking forward to seeing everybody in the next week of broadcasts. Have a good evening, and catch you next time.